Watch the woman in this clip, but most importantly, watch the other women's reaction to this woman.
And then eventually it got to a point where like I was 19 and I got kicked out of my house because I was like bringing over 6 dudes a night. Like it just was never enough. Enough was never enough. So, yeah.
What? Wait, 6 dudes a night?
For like a consecutive week, yeah.
So like, would you slot them in like 7 p.m., 8 p.m.,
Yeah.
9 p.m., 10 p.m.?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And then I would even, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'd say I would even like have like my backup guys to where it was like, if this guy didn't come tonight, then I would invite this guy so that like
Did you
that
have
way.
did you have a spreadsheet, like an Excel?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I had to write, eventually like I had to write people's names down because it got like so insane. Yeah.
Did you see the faces that the other women made? That right there is the veil of liberal feminism crashing. You know that myth that they're telling women today, promiscuity's fun, casual sex is empowering for women. Be a whore, be a slut, feel no shame, you're a goddess. 6 men a night. For the women listening to that, they have all of that cultural propaganda flowing around their minds like, yeah, we got to support her, celebrate women, this is fine. But all of that mental noise is clashing hard with deeply felt biological instincts that tell her that any woman who has no discernment for the men that she is sleeping with is clearly not functioning. This is not empowerment, this is self-destruction. She needs compassion, not congratulations. Not to mention that women do not trust other women if they're slutty, if they're promiscuous, if they sleep around, because they have that innate aversion that says she's not a safe person to have around me, because if I get a boyfriend and I'm invested in him, I don't want my slutty friend hanging around tempting him away with easy sex. That's why, despite all of the intense propaganda which tells women that it's empowering, the majority of slut shaming still happens from women to other women. But guess what? Men don't like it either.
How many guys did you have sex with?
56.
His face says it all. She slept with 56 men?
I have 25 right now.
25 is crazy.
Wait. You're saying 25 bodies while I'm 22 is crazy.
Yes. That's crazy. Leaving aside obvious concerns about self-esteem, about paternity certainty, about having no standards, what many men are coming to terms with when considering these women who have huge body counts, who've been promiscuous in the past, is what it indicates about their character, about their personality, about their approach to life, which is that they have no self-control. Sex is not difficult for women to get. The research has shown that if a woman approaches a random man on the street and offers him sex, 75% of the time she'll be successful. When you reverse the genders, the man is successful 0% of the time. I'll put a link down below to that research if you haven't seen it yet. Sex for women is not hard, it's not difficult, it's not an accomplishment. So why should a woman be proud of herself for having a lot of sexual partners?
I have a very big body count and I'm very happy, and I'm in
What's
stable romantic arrangements.
What's the body count?
Probably like 300 something.
300 something. Okay. 300.
Yeah, what about you guys?
Mine's at like 50.
50. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also at 50.
50.
I have a very big body count and I'm very happy. Why? 300 men, that's not impressive. It's so confusing why you would be proud of this. Like, what positive attribute do you imagine having 300 men who have slept with you indicates about yourself? Like, what virtue do you think that number is illuminating? If a man said, this week I spent over 100 hours playing video games, or I ate junk food for every single meal, or I watched 40 hours of porn this week, who is going to be impressed by those numbers? Nobody, and they shouldn't be, because it's not an achievement. Video games, porn, junk food, there's no barrier to entry to any of these things, so why should they be an accomplishment? I'm not shaming guys who have like addictions to this stuff. If you need advice to get over them, you can always hit me up here. What I'm pointing out is that there is a double standard in that we should be expected to cheer and celebrate a woman as though it's an accomplishment for racking up a huge body count, when actually there's no barrier to entry. It's not impressive any more than the man who's engaging in these male-centric destructive habits. And here's what a lot of men in my audience included in this, still don't understand about female sexuality, which is that women can enjoy casual sex. Too many men think that casual sex, random hookups are exclusively a male domain. Like you tell them like, hey, men, our sexuality, we'd love to hook up with some random hottie from the club and then never call her again. Like it's still a fun experience for us. Men are like, yeah, I understand that. I'm a man. That's what men are like. But women, no. Women are pure. Women are angelic. They're above that sort of thing. Wrong. Casual sex, hookups with strangers can be enjoyed by both genders. Both men and women can derive huge pleasure from such an encounter, but here's the difference. For women, it comes at a big cost. Yes, it was fun. Yes, it was pleasurable, but the hangover afterwards was devastating. And that's why, up until recently at least, women didn't act that way. They didn't engage their instincts for casual sex. But, modern feminism has changed that. For men, there's not really such a consequence, right? Like they can have casual sex, even impregnate women, and then just abandon the woman and the child. It's not really going to inhibit his survival. In fact, biologically, it's a pretty sound strategy. Have children with lots of different women, spray and pray, play the numbers game. Morally, it's disgusting, but our biology is not really guided by ethics, which is why men have such strong instincts guiding them towards casual sex, because biologically, as a strategy, it can work. So we don't have a lot of instincts warning us against casual sex. The men that did have those kinds of instincts weren't likely to reproduce and so were bred out of the collective gene pool. But women are completely different. They have heaps of instincts guiding them against casual sex. It's not because it doesn't feel good. Yeah, the sex feels amazing. You've got some stud guy who notices you and gives you some night of passion. She's gonna enjoy that. She has biologically evolved instincts that would get excited by such an encounter, especially if he's like a high status, super masculine guy, like, oh my God, he's chosen me. I could have his children. My children could have his genetics. Yes, but she has competing instincts. You understand this? It's not that she doesn't enjoy the sex or want that, but she has a bunch of instincts warning her against it. Single motherhood is dangerous. Other men won't want me if I have another man's child. There's the dangers of pregnancy, damage to my reputation. I put my own survival at risk if I have a child and I don't have a man around to provide and protect for me. Those cautionary instincts act as a barrier. Yes, the sex would be fun, but there's a lot of consequences, so don't give in to it. I hope I'm making sense. You understand why 75% of men were saying yes to casual sex encounters and 0% of women were. It's not that women are deriving no pleasure from sex. Sex is enjoyable for both genders, men and women. We can both have orgasms, so we can both have fun, but women have a bunch of instincts warning them against it. That is the difference. But sadly, for modern women, the perspective that's being shared around culturally at the moment is that all of those instincts that were warning them against casual sex, they're just relics of the past, antiquities. Even worse, it's shame. It's an attempt to control women. It's sexual oppression. It's slavery in the form of ideas. Who are we to restrict in any way women's sexual expression? Those women who are out there sleeping with a bunch of men, they are modern day crusaders. They are noble individuals fighting for an important cause. The more men that they sleep with, the more empowered they are. Watch how they cheer the second girl in this clip.
What's your body count?
I would say that my body count would probably be maybe like 30s.
It's higher than 100.
More than 100?
Can I get a dab
It's
for that?
probably higher than 200 as well.
Dab, give her a dab.
I'm not ashamed, to be honest.
Pete, yours again? You said it's...
I stopped counting at 254.
Did you see the cheers? Did you see the smiles and the high fives? These women should not be congratulating her on having a number higher than 200. By having such an extensive sexual history, all she's really admitting is that she has no self-control, that she's completely out of touch with her own feminine instincts for restraint. It's admitting that all you care about is having a good time right now and damn the consequences. Because these women, they have strong instincts warning them against promiscuity. They have rational reasons why it's not a good idea to sleep with lots of men and have no standards. But despite those warning instincts, that pull of short-term gratification is so strong that they can't resist it. They just had to sleep with those guys. They have no self-control, and that's not a character trait worth celebrating. It's actually a big red flag. Do you remember the marshmallow test where they put a toddler in front of a marshmallow and say, if you can resist eating this marshmallow for 5 minutes, I'll give you 2 marshmallows. And they found that this simple experiment was actually a really good predictor of intelligence as children understand the importance of delayed gratification. women. That's what all these promiscuous women are doing. They're just demonstrating that they have no capacity to delay their own gratification. It's all about short-term pleasure now. But men aren't falling for it. When they hear a woman has had hundreds of men in her sexual past, he correctly deduces that she's not that intelligent, that she has no self-control, no willpower, no ability to put off a little bit of fun right now for some greater reward in the future. And partnering up with a woman like that is going to be a disaster. What kind of a life can you have? There were some painful real-life examples of this in my course. Oh, but Alex, don't you understand that it takes a man and a woman to have a casual sex encounter? You know, like you act as though men are above this sort of thing, but they're participating in the sexual marketplace the same as these women are. Yeah, they are, and they shouldn't. That's not what I'm advocating, but that's not the huge airtight defense that you think it is, because men are not as dumb as you might imagine. Yeah, they will sleep with those women, but they're not going to marry them. They're not going to commit. They're not going to be monogamous to a woman who slept with lots of guys before. When it comes time to finding their forever partner, they don't want a woman who's been promiscuous. They want a woman of depth, character, restraint, intelligence. It's a big topic. I go into a lot more depth on the duality that men face in terms of the kind of women that they sleep with and the kind of women that they commit to on my Patreon. My latest Patreon, which you can check out here, is about whether or not men actually prefer if women wear makeup or if they'd rather a natural look. So if you want more depth on this stuff, come over to Patreon. But these women who are sleeping with men like they're marshmallows are just burning through their dopamine, just destroying her capacity to pair bond. They're giving up that future where they have a deep connection with her future husband in exchange for some cheap thrills in the present. And that's not an impressive choice to make. That's why I see no reason to celebrate a woman who does this. I mean, women can point at me and say, I'm the problem, you know, I should just be more accepting. It's not my place to shame a woman who wants to sleep with 6 dudes a night. But in response to that, I'll say that there's a reason why it's such a touchy subject with women. Why they lie about their partner counts. Why they get so angry at men who might judge them a little bit. It's because deep down, women know they shouldn't be acting this way, and so they get really defensive. Watch this next clip. Watch how embarrassed she gets.
What's your body count looking like right now?
I can't even tell you. It's like 45.
How old are you again?
20.
20, and your body count is?
45.
45.
Look at how embarrassed she is. That is the guilty laugh of somebody who knows they shouldn't be acting this way. All the fake put on outrage. Who could possibly care about this? Why would men ask about this? Oh, it doesn't matter. They know it matters. That's why they're so sensitive about the topic. That's why she's embarrassed, because 45 men at age 20 is crazy. A woman like that is the same as a man at age 20 who's watched tens of thousands of hours of pornography. It indicates the same problem. No self-control. And of course, the solution isn't to find some woman who derives no pleasure from sex. You're looking for a high-quality woman who understands the appeal but can exercise some self-restraint. Yes, I've been tempted. I also love pleasure. I can understand the appeal, but that's not who I am. That's not how I choose to behave. I'm not interested in some cheap short-term pleasure. I'm looking out for myself in the long term. I value myself. I have high standards. I only sleep with men who commit to me and are in a relationship with me. I'm looking for the future father of my children. Once I find him, yeah, we're going to have a great sex life because it's safe. And the sex is going to be all the more special because it's bonded by a sincere love that we have for each other. A woman who says that, now that is a good woman. But for any woman who shames men for having a preference for a woman with a low partner count, who thinks that men are somehow culturally obligated to cheer on their promiscuity, I just turn the mirror back on you. Why aren't you cheering every time a man watches porn? Because it means nothing? Because it's not an accomplishment? Because there's no barrier to entry? It's just self-pleasure short term? If anything, it indicates a lack of willpower and a lack of restraint? Yes, that's exactly my point.